Okay, yeah. So like Shilpa said, it's best on an empty stomach. Now why? We should always understand why, because only when we understand why we do it. If someone just tells you, then it just doesn't work out that way. So fruits digest very, very quickly. They're simple carbohydrates. Fruits contain vitamins, mineral, live enzymes, which are so important. Now what happens if you eat it immediately after a meal? Your stomach's already produced acid to break down your meal. And then you put something that has live enzymes and vitamins in your system. It just gets mixed up with the acid. It starts fermenting and rotting. Number one, you kill all the vitamins. Number two, you create more bloating, acidity, and flatulence. So it's in the Vedas, it's in all the traditional Indian science that fruits are best digested on an empty stomach. And the second thing is, you should eat your fruit whole. Juicing your fruits or drinking all of these fruit juices becomes nothing but a glass of sugar. You need to understand that when you break down a fruit, you break down all of the fiber in it. And the heat that's produced in the mixing process denatures most of the vitamins, which are very, very heat resistant. So you have to understand, by drinking a glass of fruit juice, you're getting absolutely no nutrition. And in fact, what you're doing is you're raising your blood sugar levels rapidly. Now, if you're drinking a vegetable juice and you want to add like a small piece of apple to it to just sweeten it, that's fine, but I still say eat your fruit whole. That's how nature gave it to you. Nature gave it to you in the whole form. Fruits contain something called fructose. Is fructose good for you? Is fructose good for you? Fructose is sugar. When it's in a whole fruit, it uses the enzymes and the vitamins to break it down. But when you isolate fructose from a fruit, when you make it into a juice or something called high corn fructose syrup, which all of your aerated drinks contain, all of your processed and junk food contains, it becomes the most deadly sugar on this planet. The human body doesn't know what to do with it. It doesn't know how to break it down. So eat fruits in its whole form. Empty stomach is the best, and like Shilpa said, before sunset. Because you don't need simple carbs as the body's slowing down and preparing to sleep.
Thanks. Luke, a lot of our members and their spouses are working, especially in Dubai. Both of us, spouses and working. And most of them cannot cook food regularly. In fact, there are a lot of members who are single or who live alone as their families are in India or they yet to be married. What is the advice to them? Because if they are not cooking food at home, what type of food they should order from the restaurants? Because most of us, no, that's a fact,
I understand, yeah.
So, what do you think, how do you handle when we cannot cook food at home?
Okay. So in my last talk in New York, I spoke about how one restaurant meal can negate your entire week of effort when it comes to exercise and eating well. But let me try to add a little value over here. See, number one, I don't want to lie and say that there are options. All the options today, providing convenient food to people who need food because, like you rightly said, it's a genuine issue. Both parents are working, or you're single, or you're living alone and you don't have that time. But I really want to encourage you to start making that time. Where there's a will, there's a way. Because what are my options to tell you? Start eating outside. What's the best that you can do? Do you think a chef, be it a top chef, ever measures the oil that they put in the dish that they're cooking for you? Do you think they measure the salt? Whatever restaurant you're eating, whether it's a 5-star or whatever it is, do you think you're getting quality ingredients in most of your food? The answer is no. The second thing is, then you look at convenience stores and you look at all the food available, which is, like I said, cleverly labeled to fool us and make us believe that it is healthy. Now, if you're busy, okay, the things that you can do, you can always pick up fruits, you can always pick up nuts, you can pick up seeds. You live in a country where you have dates, one of the most powerful and healthy fruits. But they're processing dates as well. Do you know that half the dates in Dubai are coated with glucose syrup to give it that shine, to make it look good? So you're eating a date, which is naturally sweet, which is great for you, and then you have sugar with it again. So if you're busy, you can put, because anyway your diet needs to be at least 50 to 60% raw and the balance cooked. Cooked food is dead food for you. It's only giving you energy. So yep, you stock up on fruits, you stock up on nuts, you stock up on vegetables. I think the best investment anyone could make is just getting one of these
Hello.
And it takes you 3 minutes to chop a carrot, chop some cucumber, chop some beetroot, put a little bit of turmeric, a little bit of sesame seeds, a little bit of black pepper, a little bit of olive oil or coconut oil, and you've got a whole complete meal. You might be thinking, oh, where's the protein? The protein's in your vegetables, the protein's in your seeds. You can take almonds, soak them, make almond milk, add some dates to it, add a little bit of vanilla powder. That could be your kid's breakfast. That could be your breakfast. I have a 3-year-old daughter. It takes me 3 minutes to get over with her breakfast. That's all she has, a fruit, almond milk with dates. Everything is raw. It's raw food. It's wholesome. She doesn't need a snack at school. She comes home 5 hours later straight for lunch. We all have this mind pattern that we have to eat and have this little snack. But if you give your body the right amount of food, it'll sustain for 3.5 to 4 hours. And you don't have to be worried about this snacking in between and wondering what you need to do. So for people who are busy, like I said, where there's a will, there's a way. You have to. And when you go to restaurants, what are your best options? What are your best options? If you're eating something bad, I always say, try to eat something good with it. Don't give your body just the bad stuff. So if I'm going to have some junk food today because it's my cheat day, I don't like the word cheat, I like to use the word reward day. Okay? Add something good with it. So if I'm having a slice of pizza, let me get a portion of salad. Let me get a vegetable soup. So I'm not only getting bad calories, I'm also getting good calories and enzymes that can help my body break down the bad food that I want. So it's all about smart combinations. So now that's what you need to know when you're ordering outside food. Order something, but order something good with it. Or you can just chop some vegetables at home, have that, and then have an outside meal if you have to. It's all about balance. So you need to fit it into your life. But like Shilpa said, start getting into the habit of trying to be in control of the food that you have, because you're not getting it anywhere out there in the market.
I just like to add, probably few of us can hire a maid from India, maybe from Bangalore, and maybe the single can get married.
Sometimes you... I think marriage is probably a better option. Sometimes you got to be careful of your maids as well, because you have no control over what they're putting on in the food as well. Yeah. So you should always be in control.
Shilpa, you being part of the Bollywood industry, the Maya Nagri, where the parties are very common. And Dubai also has a vibrant culture of parties, nightlife, socializing. How does one remain healthy being part of this culture? Of course, assuming you're cooking food, you're eating at the home, but in the evening you go to these parties and socialize on the weekends. So how do you handle this situation, and what do you want to suggest to the members?
It's very simple. I don't go to them. And if I do, because I've been part of the industry for a really long time, so most of the people are my friends, and someone's turning 50 and someone's made a film, and there's always an occasion to celebrate. I don't drink, so I'm saved there. And if I have to go there, I'll go put in an appearance, because I'm pretty full. In Bombay, and I'm sure even in Dubai, parties don't begin before 10:30, 11, right? So you make sure you eat your food by 7:45, because I eat my dinner by 7:30, 7:45 with my son. And that's become a lifestyle modification we have made. And then after that, you can do whatever you want. So you go to the party, look at the food, and say, oh, this is nice. Yeah. And then someone forces you to eat, you won't feel hungry because you've already eaten, right? So yeah. And if you can avoid drinking too much during the week, that'll be wonderful.
Thank you. I know...
Too many people clapped. Oh, this is not working for us.
The other thing is, we all host parties for our kids. And most of us goes to, again, these so-called KFCs and McDonald's. I'm sure you would have organized the birthday parties for Vians. So any sort of a suggestion how to organize kids' birthday parties? There you can control, how to control kids now.
See, when our parents threw us birthday parties, there were wafers, a few chutney sandwiches, a black forest cake if we were lucky. Maybe because we came from a very middle class family, maybe if they had called their friends over with my friends, there would be an extra samosa or two. But today's kids' parties have become like mini weddings. I get stressed when my son has to have a party because there are caterers, there are these bungee jumping things, and then there's suddenly these entertainers, and every mother is trying to compete with the other. Okay, I had 17 dishes at my son's birthday party. And it is crazy. So my last birthday party, I did have a caterer, but I baked the cake myself. There was a lot of sugar on it because it was my son's birthday. And I made sure the food was healthy. It was actually a MasterChef theme. So the kids actually made wheat pizzas and they did the toppings themselves, and it was healthy. And the chef put it into the oven. There was chicken, there was butter chicken, which was less spicy. There was egg fried rice. And if you want to keep it simple, honestly, you can just have home cooked food. You can do like a very simple paneer kathi roll and just keep it ready. You can do chutney sandwiches that really work. You can still keep it healthy with doing just maybe a dal, which children will not touch, let me tell you, if they see a pasta beside it. So you have to be intelligent. You can do fresh fish fingers made at home, chicken, tandoori chicken. Most kids like it if you want to keep it simple, malai chicken. Kids eat this stuff, you know. So broccoli, my son loves broccoli, I'm really lucky. Luke, I don't know how he does it. I once called him and he told me that he was feeding his child a raw papaya leaf. She was 6 months old. So this is my favorite story. So yeah, so it's what you give your child and what you tell your child and how interesting you make it seem for your child, you know. So that's that.
Yeah.
I'd like to add a point, and that's what I like about Shilpa. She calls a spade a spade. The problem is not with the child's party. The problem is with the parents and the moms. And I'll be honest with you, you know, when I had to reluctantly take my daughter for her first party, I just stood back and I observed. If the kids are playing and if they're having fun, they're not worried about what food's at the party. It's all about the parents, and like she said. I mean, I went for a 3-year-old birthday party and the takeaway gift was an iPad. So I kept my daughter there for half an hour. I let her have some coconut water. I bribed her. I told her, let's go home, watch Ice Age. We took the iPad and left. As simple as that. So it's so important to understand that the parties are becoming about the parents and not really the child. Children just want to play. They want attention. They want to have fun. They want to be engaged. When they're not engaged, they want to eat. It's as simple as that. So, you know, it's really up to the parents. There's no such thing as a bad party. It's just about a badly planned party. That's what I wanted to add. Over to you. Yeah.
Thanks. Luke, you have always passionately spoken about fighting cancer, and which you have started with us as we started. Can you give us some tips on how we can fight with cancer with our diet? Also, during chemotherapy, a lot of people get depressed. What would be your advice to them?
Because first, I don't like to use the word fighting cancer, because when it's a fight, someone either wins or loses. We embrace the disease when we get it, because then we can look at it with a positive attitude and weigh our options on what we need to do that's best for our body and best with our disease right now. See, we have to understand that cancer has become an epidemic. I think everyone knows someone who's going through cancer, or someone's lost someone who has cancer. We need to, number one, understand the disease, because we live in a world of fear. The moment you hear the word cancer, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? What stage? And if it's 4th stage, oh, the patient doesn't have time left. But let me tell you, there are 4th stage patients who live for 10 to 15 to 20 years normally. So the first thing is we remove fear. What do we understand about the disease? Okay, it's a multifactorial disease. Just because you're obese doesn't mean you get cancer. Just because you're eating food with pesticides, it doesn't mean you get cancer. All of us are eating the same food. Everyone doesn't have cancer. All of us are breathing the same polluted air. all of us don't have cancer. It's multifactorial. And as I spoke to you about immunity, if you keep your immunity strong, a body cannot have cancer with a strong immunity, because it's your body's intelligence and brilliance that recognizes a cancer cell and kills it. Right now, while we're speaking, all of us have cancer cells, but our immunity is fighting it all the time. When we have low immunity, we're compromised. You could be the fittest person in the wrong place at the wrong time. You have low immunity, you breathe in a carcinogen, or you're eating an apple that has a pesticide. And because your immunity is low, your cells don't recognize that toxin, and it starts a cell mutation. There are 4 things I have to tell you when it comes to cancer. To prevent it, or if anyone's going through it, that should be your healing paradigm. 1 is balanced nutrition. Note that I'm using the word balanced. I'm not saying keto diet, I'm not saying low carb, I'm not saying high protein. I am saying balanced, because your cells need balanced nutrition. The second is adequate exercise. Note that I'm using the word adequate, because overtraining also reduces your immunity, which is why most trainers tell you to take a vitamin E or a vitamin C when you finish a training program. Why? Because they know that your immunity is now going to be lowered. So adequate, be gentle with your body. You're not an athlete. If you're an athlete and that's your profession, then you will eat like an athlete and you will rest like an athlete. You won't have a 9-to-5 job where you have to wake up and go and work and then come back and train. So adequate exercise, because exercising the wrong way is detrimental to your immunity. The third point is your quality sleep, the most important thing. What puts you to sleep? There's a hormone, again, it's all about hormones. It's called melatonin. Everyone's heard of melatonin, right? Some people use melatonin pills to sleep. Melatonin is also known as an anti-cancer vaccine hormone. While you sleep, the more melatonin you produce, it prevents the proliferation of cancer cells in your body, which is why when we have someone sick who's sleeping 4 to 5 hours, they never heal. They never heal. And if you look at the nature of the human body, when you feel sick, you can't do much because the body needs you to rest. It's trying to force you to rest. But because of our life and responsibilities today, we take a pill, so it covers the symptom, we feel a little bit better, and we continue living our life, never resting and never healing from the disease. And the last point is emotional health. I cannot stress how important emotional health is. If you are stressed right now, you have unforgiveness in your heart, you have anger, you have jealousy, envy, worry, anxiety. It's weighing down your immunity. And you already know what low immunity does to you. So when it comes to cancer, and to answer your second question, a lot of chemo patients go through depression. Why? It's mainly fear-based. What's going to happen to me next? And while the entire medical community and the world is good at telling you what problem you have, no one's telling you how to holistically heal. No one's telling you take chemo, but also go back and change the way you're eating, sleeping, living, thinking, moving. They're just saying, take this medicine, take this medicine. They're suppressing all of your symptoms, but they're not telling you to change your lifestyle. The magic drug is lifestyle when it comes to cancer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Shilpa, in your book you have said no to white sugar, white rice. Why is it so? How we can replace them in our daily lives?
No, I haven't said don't have it and all of that. I'm just saying that I don't have it. And I think it works for me. So I think anything that is refined, the basic reason it is there, you have killed it. So it's so weird, like wheat. I think suddenly I've started hearing people are gluten intolerant, lactose intolerant, casein intolerant. There's so many intolerances because everything is so polished, made to look beautiful, laden with pesticide. It's another story that most things that we're eating are also genetically modified. There's antibiotics, hormones in our food. It's just a weird world. So I'm like, just keep it simple. So I have switched everything white to brown, But if there is white rice, I don't mind having it a few times. There's no like hard and fast rule. But yes, refined sugar, I stay away from. I don't think I've had refined sugar for like the longest time. On my Sunday binges, if there is a rasmalai, I will indulge in it. Okay? That's the only time I let myself go. But on a daily basis, my discipline, my modification, and my understanding with my body, which is in sync with my mind, is that this is something I don't want to have. So I don't crave it. So I'll have alternatives like agave, there's, maple, maple syrup. I'll have, like in the purest form. I'll have jaggery. And brown rice, I'm a Mangalorean, so I'm used to it. I like the taste of it. Brown bread, I'm saying don't have the brown bread. Because I just think that brown bread that they make it seem so healthy. It's actually not that healthy. I think it's, again, sugar added to just caramelize it. So it's not, unless you're baking it at home, like Luke says, or you really know you're going to a baker who's giving you like a proper whole wheat kind of bread. The cereals that you're getting out there that says they are fortified with minerals. They basically refined the wheat. They've taken out the bran and the husk, and they've taken out all the nutrients, and then they add it back into it, like an external vitamin into it. And I don't understand the logic of that. How can that be healthy? I like things in its natural form. That's why and Luke and I prescribe that you should get down to eating what is natural. Preferably understand where it has come from. Read the back of the packet. That is a very, very important point. Before I forget, please start label reading. How many of you label read? Oh my God. You have to start label reading. Because you cannot imagine the kind of stuff we have in our food. If you understand that there is high fructose corn syrup and it is not good for you, you will not buy 70% of the things that are there in the supermarkets. So, just a very simple, basic understanding. When you're buying something, if it says, for example, poha, ready-made poha, it should just have 4 ingredients. But the ones that you'll buy will have maybe 15. And the other way of testing what you are eating or what you are buying is that whatever you have bought, it has to have maximum of that at the back. So if you're buying a pomegranate juice, it has to be pomegranate juice, pomegranate, like 90% has to be pomegranate and not from concentrate. That is another thing with juices. I would prefer that you, like Luke says, but I know most people don't do it. So as Luke is the most stricter one, I'm still willing to say, okay, let's make a deal. In Bombay they say mandoli. Kahin beach mein milte. So if you have to make it at home, fresh. Rather it not be in a packet, make it fresh. So that's that. I've digressed, but I thought it was very important to tell them this.
Thanks. Even Mahatma Gandhi, he never used sugar, he used to eat jaggery all his life. Luke, the cardiac diseases are the most common disease in UAE. What diet tips would you like to give for both prevention, for those who already have the heart blockages? Also, would like to give a diet recommendation for high blood pressure? So I'm clubbing both in this question to you.
So I think when it comes to cardiovascular problem, the first thing we need to understand that everyone's been fooled with cholesterol. We've always thought that cholesterol is the bad person in heart disease. Let me tell you, 1 out of every maybe 1 1,000 autopsies which are done on patients who have had a cardiac arrest died of heart attacks not because of cholesterol. The word is inflammation. Inflammation is the #1 cause of heart disease. And how many we all check our lipid profile, we look at an LDL, an HDL, and triglycerides. Today, go home and Google a metric called CRP. It's called C-reactive protein. And you'll be asking yourself, how come doctors don't ask us to check what CRP does? What is CRP? It is a metric that tells you how much inflammation you have in your body. Just by knowing your CRP levels, you can take control over your heart disease. The second thing that we do, the medication that you're taking for heart disease, and I'm going to be upfront about this, many people need medication for a while. But the people who stay on it for a lifetime, because they've been told to stay on it for a lifetime, they usually expire of cardiac arrests because of inflammation caused by the drug, which is commonly called a statin. Go home today and Google the side effects of statins. It causes high blood pressure, it induces diabetes, and it leads to kidney damage. Whereas when you understand the working of the human heart, I'll give you a simple example. A few years ago, when a baby was born with a hole in the heart, the first thing was surgery. Today we find children sending their 60-year-old parents and 70-year-old parents for a full body checkup. Okay, because you've got to look after your health. You do a full body checkup and suddenly your father or your mother realizes that, oh, I have a hole in my heart. You've lived for 70 years with a hole in your heart. Your body's adapted to it. Your body's created new arteries, new veins, survival. And you've lived. And all of a sudden, are you going to do a hole in the heart surgery at the age of 70? Just because you discovered it. My point is the human body has the ability to heal. All these blockages in your heart is your body telling you, change your lifestyle. How do you clean out plaque from your arteries? You force it out with blood flow. How do you increase blood flow? Exercise. As simple as that. When you move, your heart starts pumping more blood. That blood rushes through your arteries and starts cleaning out all of the plaque that you have. So my first tip when it comes to preventing or looking after cardiovascular disease is your activity. I'm not talking about a 1-hour gym workout. A 1-hour gym workout is useless if you're going to be sitting for the next 9 hours. There's a term, it's called sedentary active, where you work out for 1 hour in the morning and the rest of the day you're sitting. What would be better than a 1-hour workout is being active throughout the day. This little band that I wear on me, it tells me how many steps I walk in a day. If I do 10,000 steps in a day and I've not worked out, I'm fine because I've been active. Your body needs activity and movement more than your 1-hour workout. So your sedentary lifestyle is the #1 reason for cardiovascular problems. The second is your outside eating because you have no control over oil. There are good oils like Shilpa mentioned, ghee, coconut oil. These are good oils. Your body requires it. But the refined vegetable oils in the market is what has created the most heart disease. Let's go back to Kerala a couple of years ago when the primary oil used was coconut oil. Heart disease was unheard of in South India until the olive oil mafia came and pushed all of the olive oils into South India. And people moved from coconut oil to olive oil. And South India has some of the most rampant cardiovascular statistics today. So again, the third thing when it comes to your heart is your sleep. Most of the fittest people who have died of cardiac arrest have died because they would sleep 3 to 4 hours. Recovery. Inflammation reduces while you sleep. So if you eat a diet that's high in sugar and white flour and junk food, what are you producing in your body? Inflammation. Cholesterol is not the problem. Of course, if you're having deep fried food every single day, it is going to be a problem. But cholesterol is not the issue. Saturated fats, which you find in good oils, are the fats that will keep your heart healthy. So when it comes to cardiovascular, again, the magic drug is your lifestyle. Nothing more than that. And if anyone over here is on a medication for a lifetime because you have a cardiovascular problem, my advice would be start changing your lifestyle and start working with your doctor to slowly start reducing your dosage and eventually get off that drug. Because it is possible to live a full life without a drug, unless you really, really need it. Okay, over to you.
Shilpa, a chatpata question. Many kids, and especially women, they enjoy pickles. It is inherent in typical Indian diet. What is your advice on eating pickles?
आंटी आप पिकल खाती हैं? अचार? नहीं? अच्छा लगता है अचार? चुंदो? See, anything done in moderation is fine. But pickles in general are obviously very high in sodium. You have to keep it over a long time. Why is this whole stage moving? Oh, acha, it's here. I thought so I hope I'm not in the midst of an earthquake or something. Yeah. But yeah, so, and there are a lot of oilless pickles, a lot of low sodium pickles. There's one that I especially like, which is a garlic pickle that's made with mustard oil. And there's nothing wrong with having it because garlic is great. It's an anti-inflammatory. And yeah, but you know the chundas and, sorry auntie, all of that, because it becomes like a vegetable on the plate. Okay. like 2 tablespoons of chundo and all I can't handle. No, that's a no. But yes, twice a week, there's nothing wrong in because I mean, in Mangalore, they used to store it in those clay pots, you know, in Goa. There's something about the fish pickles and all of that, and people survived as long as, but the way when it's adulterated, when you're using the wrong kind of oils in it, and you know, there's too much salt in it, and then it doesn't make any sense. You'd rather avoid it. Yeah. Does that answer your question, or does it
Thanks,
confuse
but you know, still, I just want to share that after I read your book, I stopped using the tomato sauce.
Yes, thank God.
To the green chutneys and date chutneys which you have mentioned in the mails.
Yeah, good.
So,
you're very fit, yeah, Pankaj. The great Indian diet results.
And you know, my wife says that you don't buy anything, but I end up buying dhania. But at least then I can get a dhania chutney, and it's easy to buy. You know, just come in a puri. Thank you. So, Luke, you know, again, the another thing which we see in Dubai is the diabetics. So, any suggestion for people who have diabetes on food restriction and to avoid diabetes? You know.
Yeah, I think I have so many diabetic patients who, you know, fly in from Dubai all the time to see me. But you got to believe, number one, there are very few type 1 diabetic patients who are born with it, who get it at the age of 8 and 9, and they have to live with it throughout their life. They need medication, they need insulin. The balance, 95%, is caused by poor lifestyle. And if there's anyone in this room who doesn't believe that you can reverse diabetes, I want you to change your mind pattern and start believing that you can. Because as we're sitting right here, there are thousands of people around the world who are reversing their diabetes all the time. And again, we're made to believe that you've got to be on medication for a lifetime. So if I have to give you 2 tips today, if you are diabetic or if you want to prevent diabetes, the number 1 food, everyone thinks it's just sugar. It's not about sugar. The number 1 food that you have to remove from your lifestyle right now, and I can promise you, if you have diabetes, you will notice that your sugar levels start getting more and more stable, is white bread. And I'm going to tell you why. Again, understand why. Because my parents grew up on white bread, I grew up on white bread, I don't have diabetes, touch wood, my family doesn't have diabetes. What has changed is the quality and the way, like Shilpa said, the way the bread is made. Okay? Let me quickly explain what happens. So you have wheat, the kernel is removed, the bran is removed, and the wheat germ is removed. Now you have wheat flour. Wheat flour is further processed with a chemical that resembles chlorine. It's called bleach, to make it white. That's exactly what white flour is. Now, there's another chemical that unfortunately gets formed in this process. It's called alloxin. Remember this word alloxin, because the next thing that I'm going to tell you is going to shock you. How do you make a rat diabetic? Now, your question would be, why would you want to make a rat diabetic? Because when a pharmaceutical company makes a diabetic drug, it has to be tried on something, right? Which is that poor animal that all drugs get tried on? Rats. How do you test a diabetic drug on a rat? You have to make the rat get diabetes. They inject the rat with alloxin, the same chemical that is found in all white bread. Now, what does that alloxin do in your system? It damages your pancreas. What's the function of the pancreas? To produce insulin. So you see, now we're talking about the root cause of diabetes. We're not talking about, oh, my pre-sugar levels and my post-sugar levels. We're not interested in that. We're interested in, why do you have diabetes? Because your pancreas are not producing insulin. That's why you need insulin in the form of medication. So now you can choose to be on insulin for the rest of your life, or you can choose to repair your pancreas. And how do you repair your pancreas? By avoiding the foods that are damaging it. Number 1, white bread. Number 2, excessive white salt. Number 3, white sugar in excess. These 3 things. When it comes to your activity, if you have diabetes and you're overtraining, guess what? Insulin, you're producing more insulin, which is not going to be utilized. You have to do exercises that suit your condition. Light yoga, light walking. And the tip I wanted to give you about exercise, try this, because it's worked for thousands of people around the world. 30 minutes after you finish your meal, 30 minutes after you finish your meal, walk for 10 to 15 minutes. Not immediately after your meal, 30 minutes after you finish your meal. And within a week, watch how your sugar levels start stabilizing. Because it's about doing the right movement at the right time while your body's digesting food and your pancreas are producing insulin. It's not about going to the gym for 1 hour and working out because you have diabetes. Everyone's body is different from the person sitting at the side of you. You need a different exercise, you need a different way of eating, you need a different amount of sleep. You can never generalize it, it's individualized. My honest advice to everyone would be, who doesn't have diabetes, please do whatever it takes not to get diabetes. Because once you have diabetes, you become prone to other diseases like high blood pressure, cardiovascular problems, and eventually kidney failure. The most cases that I get from Dubai are people who have diabetes and dialysis together. And it is the diabetes which is not managed well that now causes kidney disease and the patient's on dialysis. When it comes to high blood pressure, to answer your last question, it is your salt intake. You have to realize that. Every extra gram of salt that you have in your body needs water to neutralize it. So your back pressure builds up, and that's nothing but high blood pressure. And the more high blood pressure medication you're on, that medication is depleting you of a key mineral called magnesium. High blood pressure medication depletes you of magnesium. So if you're on a high blood pressure pill and you're not supplementing with magnesium, the next thing that you're going to have is a cardiac problem. Because what's the number 1 mineral that looks after heart health? Magnesium. So you see, it's all interrelated with each other. You got to exercise for high blood pressure. You got to reduce your stress levels. I'll give you a simple exercise. The next time you have high blood pressure, wherever you are, stop, sit, take 5 to 10 deep breaths, complete inhales and exhales, and check your pressure immediately. I will guarantee you, you will be down by if not 10 points, 20 points. Because the power of oxygen, the more oxygen you take, pressure automatically reduces. These are your inexpensive drugs that I call lifestyle again. That's what you got to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Shilpa, there's a lot of discussion about the milk, especially produced in big cities. Of course, I've read in the book, and I think you also mentioned about at times avoiding milk. What do you think, if any possibility of replacing a milk or a curd is better than drinking a milk, or a lassi is better than drinking a milk? And yeah, just one more thing. Even people who drink milk, there are a lot of milkshake being sold in a lot of juice centers. Again, is a fruit with the milk is a good option?
That's a really interesting question, See, anything that is going to be mass produced, I look at it with a raised eyebrow. Unfortunately, we're living in that kind of world, Abhi. It's Kalyug and not Satyug. So, yes, I mean, and I hail from a country where the cow is worshipped. So when we were writing the Great Indian Diet, we had to be a little careful, or there would have been a few effigies of Luke and me burnt, and there would have been morchas outside our homes. So we have to tread a little carefully. But most people, as you see, and we are learning with researchers, are lactose intolerant. Okay, so they say that the human body is not maybe meant to be having milk, but we are having it. So more than genes that are handed down to us, so when someone ends up with diabetes or a heart ailment, we say, oh, it's genetic. It is not the genes that are handed down to us, it's the habits. So we and our ancestors have been having milk, so we continue to have milk. But the kind of milk they had, and the kind of milk we have, and the kind of work they did, they used to go out and take out the milk also themselves. Okay? Here we don't know where the milk is coming from, one. It's in Tetra packs, which has a sell-by date of some 6 months. How can it be natural? So and then answering your second question, whether you should have it or not, that is purely a choice. Some people have it, they say they're very happy with it. My mother scolded me when I told her about not having milk. She's like, oh, your bones will break. You know, every mother thinks that she knows best. So when I tell her something, she will give me 3 other reasons why I should have it. So I think Luke would technically be able to answer this question better, because this is his day job. I am still discovering. But to answer the question, Pankaj, I have practically reduced dairy, or maybe I can say given up on dairy for some time. But since we are so conditioned to having dairy, I do miss my occasional milk. But if you have to make the choice between cow milk or buffalo milk, please go with buffalo milk, because it's higher in iron. Yes, buffalo milk. Bhains ka doodh. So people really are worried about the fat in buffalo milk, but I think it's at least, you know, and I take out the malai and I store it and I make ghee out of it. And it's wonderful. So I would still suggest, if you have to, you go with curd. I prefer doing smoothies. I really do. And mixing fruit with milk, I prefer not to do that. I would do it with almond milk if I would have to mix a fruit. It's very easy to make. Go on to my YouTube channel. I've taught people how to make it. It's not rocket science. And yeah. What else? You asked me so many questions.
No. So that, I think you answered, especially the...
no, I missed out a point though. No. Yeah, so I would, you know, I prefer to keep things simple. So getting down to just simplifying it. Do listen to your body. Just listen to your body. If you think your body is working fine with milk, please have it. If it's not, like Luke very rightly said, figure out, like there are a lot of people who find it, you know, who finding maybe some triggers for their issues, and get it checked, and then just cut out milk. It's not difficult in this time and age to live without dairy, honestly. What would you like to say, Luke?
Yeah, I think when it comes to milk, so Around 50 years ago, one cow would produce about 2,000 pounds of milk in a year. Today, a cow produces 50,000 pounds of milk in a year. Now, how's that possible? Tell me. What are they feeding the cows? Exactly, hormones and then antibiotics so that they don't get sick, and something else called bovine growth hormones. Have you heard of that? BVH. That gets into our system and that compromises our natural growth hormones. We have something called HGH, human growth hormones. And today parents are struggling with their children's growth problems. And you look at these children, they're drinking so much of milk that they have the hormone of another animal getting into their body. Why are young girls reaching puberty way before their age? Estrogen that comes into your body from the milk that you drink. Because what makes a cow grow faster? Estrogen. What makes a cow produce more milk? Estrogen, again. So yep, we're living in that world. Like Shilpa said before, in the olden days, milk was fine, but there was another difference. Our ancestors drank milk fresh from the cow. It was raw, it had all the raw enzymes, and that's the power of milk, raw milk. But today it's pasteurized and homogenized. Everything's killed in it, including two very important amino acids in milk, which is why people who think they need to drink milk for calcium and protein, it's a myth. Those amino acids don't exist in processed milk anyway. So when you look at India and the US, which are the two countries which are the highest consumers of calcium in milk, and they have the highest amount of osteoporosis, it doesn't make sense anymore, right? Because it's not milk that prevents osteoporosis. It's activity and a diet that's rich in wholesome calcium from your fruits, vegetables, sesame seeds, nuts and seeds, and activity. Activity makes the bones grow stronger, not milk. Over to you. Yeah.
Thank you. So again, Luke, to you, in Ayurveda, they have said that most of the diseases originate from the stomach, basically because of what we eat. What would your top 5 must follow tips to maintain a healthy digestive system connecting with Ayurveda?
So I think gut health is the most important thing when it comes to the prevention of disease, the cure of any disease, and even losing weight. The first thing that you look is not at a diet plan. You look at how healthy is my gut. Am I acidic? Do I get bloated? Do I have flatulence? Flatulence is normal, but do I have excessive flatulence? Am I constantly burping? These are signs. Am I constipated? Am I not passing a motion regularly? If you have these symptoms, you have poor gut health. If you have poor gut health, you have poor immunity. If you have poor gut health, most people who go through depression have a weakened gut. Because again, what we're made to believe is that serotonin, which is the happy hormone, is made in the brain. But serotonin is made in your gut. So if your gut is not functioning the right way, you're not producing enough of serotonin. If you're not producing enough of serotonin, you feel depressed, you feel anxious, you feel low, you feel sad, and then we take a pill believing that's going to fix us, where all we needed to fix was our gut. Your gut health is so important. Women especially, if you are getting constipated, that is the #1 thing you need to fix. Every correlation that we've seen to breast cancers, ER positives, that person had constipation at some point in their life. And it makes sense. You don't need science to figure this out. If you're constipated, what are you keeping in your colon? Toxic waste. That toxic waste backs up estrogen, which is supposed to come out of your system back into your liver. What are most breast cancers, ER positives, caused by? Excessive estrogen. So you're literally causing a cancer in your body because you're not passing out your motion. The first thing you need to do is make sure that your bowel movement is proper. And for people who have IBS, where you're going 5 or 6 times to a loo because it's stress related, or you're eating the wrong foods, or you're traveling too much and not eating on time, you got to fix that as well. So the first step is make sure that your exit, you know, the human body is blessed with 5 eliminatory organs. If these 5 eliminatory organs are working in optimum condition, you can never have disease. And if you have disease, you'll fall sick, but you'll heal without the requirement of heavy medication and treatments. Your skin is your largest eliminatory organ. How many of you sweat regularly? If you're not sweating, you're keeping in lead and a whole load of other toxins in. That's why we exercise, so that we sweat. You're detoxifying. The second organ are your lungs. Oxygen in, carbon dioxide out. Observe everyone. Who's breathing to their full capacity right now? Who? Now I see you taking a deep breath, but most of us never breathe to our full capacity, which is why yoga, pranayama that she teaches and keeps encouraging people around the world becomes your most important exercise to the human body. It trains you how to use oxygen. So important. All of us are breathing wrong right now. The third eliminatory organ, your kidneys. The fourth, your liver. And the fifth, your colon. You keep these working well for you, and you will never have disease. You can go to Viva Mayas and Six Senses and all the fancy spas around the world. They'll detox you for a while. But what happens while you're living real life is what is important. And do you need to really do a detox? No. The human body is designed to detox if you give it the right food. You have the right amount of fiber, you pass a motion every day. That's detoxification. You sweat, you're detoxifying the whole... You keep alcohol to a minimum. I'm not against alcohol. I don't drink it, but I'm not against it. I'm against binge drinking. Binge drinking will mess up your liver like anything, and your kidney as well. The third point when it comes to your gut health, a prebiotic and a probiotic. Everyone's popping probiotics today. It's useless if you don't have a prebiotic. What is a probiotic? It's good bacteria in your gut. It's living. It will die if it doesn't get food to eat. Now it can get the right food or the wrong food. The wrong food is sugar. It'll make all that bacteria grow, which is what a candida is, what an yeast infection is. What's a prebiotic that's natural? Apple cider vinegar, psyllium husk, also known as isabul. Many people take it as a laxative, but if you take it 30 minutes before your meal, it becomes a prebiotic. And what's your probiotic? Your curd. If you're going off dairy, you take fermented foods like kimchi, pickled vegetables, sauerkraut, kombucha, all of these. Or you simply take a bowl of white rice in the night, your leftover white rice, fill it with water, it absorbs, in the morning, eat it. It's the most natural, inexpensive probiotic that you can ever have. So you gotta have the right prebiotic, probiotic in your system, and that keeps your gut clean. And the fifth point, if you're popping painkillers, unnecessary medication, antacids, that destroys your gut like anything. And when you have a destroyed gut, you have low immunity or you have an autoimmune disorder. What is thyroid? Thyroid is an autoimmune disorder. What is lupus? It's an autoimmune disorder. What is IBS? What is indigestion? These are all autoimmune disorders. So if you fix your gut, you take care of multiple health issues that you have, or you can prevent multiple issues that may occur in your life.
Thank you. I think we're going towards the end of the talk show. Before we start for the Q&A to our members, Shilpa, most of the mothers, especially in Dubai, including my wife, we have a complaint from our children where they bring the tiffin back. Either it is half finished or sometimes not being finished. So how mothers or parents can become creative where the kids finish their lunch and the tiffin come empty?
I don't know what you're sending in your son's or your child's tiffin. I need to know. I need to know what you have been feeding him. Do you have a son or a daughter?
Both.
Both.
Son and daughter.
Lovely. So I need to know what you have been feeding your child that is maybe different or maybe is not interesting enough for your child. And I just, I think a lot of us parents have these moments of when we give up or give in. And when you give in, you kind of give in to something that is not good or not healthy. Because you're either sending maybe wafers or something that's not really going to help your child. So I just think, just keep it simple. Send an upma. Oh, you just asked the question of where we can go out and eat and what we can order.
Yeah.
So I'm like, so I prefer a jam or an almond butter sandwich, and it's not those butters that you get which are laden with sugar and all of that. You get like fresh butters, almond butter, peanut butter that don't have sugar and oil in it, just the butter. And they are available. So if you just If you just sit and talk to your child and ask and maybe understand what your child wants, what your child likes and dislikes, you can basically work around it. And sometimes it's also nice to ignore. Yeah, so when my son throws a tantrum, I just ignore. And he'll come around because he knows mama is not going to give in. Most parents give in. And then say, Acha, you don't want to eat it? Okay, what do you want? Mama, pizza. Okay, pizza. And then the child knows that the parents are going to give in, and then it'll become a pattern. So discipline is a good thing. So I am quite a disciplinarian when it comes to my child, and unapologetically so, because for me, my son's health matters. It doesn't matter if he thinks I'm a bad mother. Somewhere down the line, he will succumb to the idea that, one day he will sit back and he'll reminisce and he'll say, my mom did this for me and I thank her. So, yeah, you just have to choose what is good for you to do at that time.
Thank you. Shilpa and Luke, both of you, do you plan to write a sequel to this book? We have seen Bollywood movies coming, and, of course, a lot of books, but, any plan so that at least members start reading this book first before the second book comes in?
I don't know about a sequel, but we are writing something else, and it's very dear to us. And I'm sure a lot of women especially are going to love it. No, that is my solo book actually that I'm doing. Yeah, it's already ready and that's going to be releasing. But the one with Luke is really, really special. And I can't really divulge too many details about it, but I'm very excited about it. So maybe mid next year, we should be ready. And it's a lot of work in progress.
Thank you. So I will open the floor for the question to the members. Request the committee members.
Do they still have questions? We have spoken. So I thought they're bored of us now.
Hello,
yes.
Can I start?
Uncle.
Can I start with a question, please?
Come with the mic, Uncle. Huh?
In place of sugar, can we use jaggery good?
Of course.
Is it all right?
Of course. I just said everything that is... I love good. It's my most favorite go-to dessert. Like, sometimes you have a sweet craving. I actually make peanut or sesame seed or flaxseed chicky with good. And I store it in a box and I have like small pieces of it. Yeah, when I have like a sugar craving.
Yeah, my first question, please, is to the Luke. Luke, we are chartered accountants and we do a lot of window dressing to decorate our balance sheets. And you are full of talents. Why do you have so much of ink on your body?
So, before I got into this line, those were my younger days. I did the whole hippie trail and I was experimenting and finding my own path and stuff. So, yeah, I may still get a few more. So it is.
Anish, we have a few people on the back side.
Hi, good evening. My name is Viraj Aisha. I want to ask, so with the upcoming festive season coming up, already Ganpati has started, there's going to be Eid, Navratri, Diwali. How can families or individuals still keep themselves healthy while among us Indians over here, we all are into desserts and sweets during the festive seasons? How can we keep ourselves healthy and balance a healthy lifestyle?
That's a really interesting question. I don't think Luke and I have ever said that you have to be austere about anything because it'll get really monotonous, which is the reason why I show through my Instagram every Sunday that I indulge. I let go. It is when you start binge eating and you don't know when to stop and you don't take your health seriously is when it becomes detrimental. So during festivals, Eid is just one day. So have your biryani, have your sheer korma, enjoy. The next day, get back to a lifestyle modification. But you can't be celebrating Eid every day and do one day of discipline. That won't work. So just having the understanding of when to pull back the reins is very important. Letting go sometimes is very important. It keeps you happy.
Yeah, hi Shilpa and Luke. That was a very enlightening one. Thank you very much. I have two small questions. You were talking about juicers, but nowadays there are many slow juicers also available in market.
What juices?
Slow juicers.
Slow juices.
That they basically don't
Slow
grind.
juicers.
Yes. They don't grind things. They compress it to make juices, in which the heating is not done. So that actually doesn't kill the vitamins and all. At least it's been told like that. And second thing that I wanted to ask is, you didn't speak about low BP. You spoke about high BP, but what about low BP? That is also a prevalent thing which I see nowadays. Like, even I am one of them.
Me too.
Which has one.
Me too.
Yeah, so please enlighten us on that, how to do that. And
Namaste.
just one last.
This auntie is coming here, 1 minute. Yes, auntie. Okay. 1 second. You're staying? Yes. Only today.
Okay. Luke, you would like to answer on this slow mixer?
Sorry, that was, yeah. Yeah. Take it.
Yeah, sure. So a slow juicer will definitely be a better option. But again, I'm against totally juicing the fruits, like I said, because if you're not destroying the vitamins, you're destroying the fiber. In relation to your question on low BP, it really depends on your lifestyle. I don't really know too much about your lifestyle, the amount of carbohydrates you have in your diet, the amount of sugar, your activity. There are many contributing factors to low BP, but you got to look at the problem holistically. You shouldn't just be eating sugar to get your, BP up. I think you need to look at a very balanced diet and make sure that you have the right vitamins, because in patients who have low BP, we find that they're deficient in certain B vitamins. So it may be important for you to check if you have a deficiency, and that could probably take care of your BP as well.
But also take it as a compliment, because they say most beautiful women have low BP. Pranayamas, that really works for low BP. It's like a vitamin. It's basically a nutrient in a gaseous form. That's why they say breathe in. And like Luke rightly says, we are just breathing. We're not taking it in. So we're okay to open a bottle and pop in a capsule which has, B12 written on it, D3 written on it, but nobody is interested in O2. So we need to just breathe. Yeah.
Hi, I have a question for Luke. Recently, there was this documentary called What the Health. I don't know if you're aware of it. I'm sure you are. And it advocates getting vegetarian and giving up meat. It spoke about inflammation, getting off drugs, etc. What's your professional opinion on it?
On being vegetarian?
Yeah.
See, I don't have a concept. My concept is based on what I see. I see people who have diseases who are pure vegetarians, who are Jain vegetarians, and I see non-vegetarians who don't have disease as well. And I see non-vegetarians who have disease and vegetarians who don't. It's not just about the food that you eat. It's like I said, it's multifactorial. You can have a pure vegetarian who has so much of stress and no activity, and that vegetarian will still be sick. Now, when it comes to antibiotics and hormones and pesticides in food, you have animals that are pumped with antibiotics, and you have plants which are sprayed with pesticides as well. So there are chemicals everywhere. So if you ask me today, again, I would go back to the food that you grew up on. There are so many people turning vegan today, and there are so many cancer patients who are also vegan. So it's a myth that a vegan diet will prevent cancer or will cure cancer. Again, it's multifactorial. So I prefer not to be extreme. If you feel vegetarian food suits your body. Now, how do you know it suits your body? you have a good bowel movement, you're light, you're energetic, you know, you feel healthy. You feel healthy. It's not about looking. That's the right food for you. I know so many non-vegetarians who feel healthy and look healthy, and they have their bowel movement in place as well. So I think it's individual to everyone. I wouldn't choose something over the other. But yeah, it's specific. Someone has high cholesterol or uric acid, I'm definitely going to cut out meat from their diet. So it's really to each person, to each their own. You make a decision based on how you feel. We have to stop making decisions according to what nutritionists, doctors, and Google tells you. You got to start listening to your own biofeedback. What is your body telling you? Are you feeling good after you ate this cupcake? If you did, there's nothing wrong with the cupcake. But if it made you feel guilty and now your sugar levels have gone up and you feel sluggish and slow, it didn't suit your body. So it's about time we start listening to our own body. Your body's always talking to you about what's good for you and what's bad for you. So it is.
Hi, Shilpa. Hi. Pooja here. You're looking extremely gorgeous, Shilpa. Yeah, actually my first question is, you said that the first thing which you do in the morning is you gargle with coconut oil. So what is the secret behind it? Like how it helps? What are the benefits?
So, coconut oil has these antimicrobial, antibacterial properties, and it also, you know, alkalizes the mouth. It takes away all the, it's great for people who have bad breath. Not that I'm saying I have it, but it really, you know, kickstarts the way my mouth functions, because everything depends on your saliva. You know, that's what's going to help you obviously break down your food also. So it works for me. It's an age-old trick. They say people with gum infections, even they should try it, and you'll actually get cured with it. So the power of coconut oil, I'm a huge believer in coconut oil and ghee, and you know, I put a tablespoon of ghee in my lunch every single day. Every single day. So for all those young people who think that, you know, they'll become fat with ghee, this is what I do. So that's the reason. Yeah.
Hello. Yeah, Luke, this question is for Luke actually. Here. Actually, I would like to ask, generally ladies after 40, they have this hormonal imbalances, and most of them, they have the cyst and those kind of things. So if you could just highlight on those, whether it is necessary to go surgically, or would it be like natural ways of getting rid of it?
See, the first thing is, why that number 40? The first issue with women is believing that after a particular age, their body's going to change. Most of your parents, your mom, and probably your mom's mom, never even knew when menopause hit them and when they finished menopause. Today, every woman after the age of 35 is talking about it, and they talk negative things about it. They talk about the hot flushes, they talk about the weight gain, they talk about all of those things. And you manifest what you think. Right now, your mind pattern is after 40, you will have a hormonal issue. And you will have a hormonal issue. Forget about the surgery. The thing is, can you change your mind pattern and believe that if you exercise the right way, eat the right way, rest and recover and look after your stress, it is not necessary that women after 40 have to have a hormonal issue. The human body is balancing your hormones naturally, which is why you have premenopause and then menopause, and if you handle it the right way, you'll sail through it beautifully. Now, if you do have a cyst or a fibroid, I don't have an answer for you whether you should surgically remove it. Understand what a cyst is. A cyst is your body producing a heart growth to protect you. And if you don't make the changes at the right time, it's a symptom. There's nothing wrong with a symptom. A symptom is the body trying to do the right thing at the right time for you. So probably because your endometrial lining is growing a little too fast, the body produces a cyst to hold it in place. And then we choose to take a medication or surgically cut it out without getting to the root cause of why did my body produce a cyst. So when it comes to hormonal balance, if you keep the 4 verticals that I spoke about in balance, there should be no reason that you have to even go through it. So don't think about it that you will, otherwise you will manifest it into your body. Okay?
Last question before we have formal vote of thanks. Yeah.
Hello. Meanwhile, I will take an opportunity to ask the question.
Hello. Yes, yes. I have a question from Mr. Luke. As you talked about inflammation, my wife has a problem of inflammation, yes. Her CRP is always 27, 28. Can you suggest me how to control it through diet?
So, see, I don't know the trigger of her inflammation, but she needs to be on an anti-inflammatory diet. Now, what's an anti-inflammatory diet? That's to contain fruits, vegetables, garlic, ginger. These are anti-inflammatory foods for everyone, because all of us are prone to inflammation. The second thing is it's very difficult to answer your question because I don't know what the trigger of her inflammation is. She could be having a back pain and that could be the reason why.
Back pain, yes.
There you go.
She has a back pain.
That's why her CRP is high. So now you work with the back pain, reduce inflammation, and the CRP will come down automatically.
Through diet, how we can do it? Like, she's on the medicine right now.
I wish I could help you, but I really can't give you an answer without knowing the case in whole. Back pains are triggered by so many things. Sometimes just sitting with the wrong posture. Sometimes sitting too long. Sometimes taking excessive antibiotics and medication or not having enough of protein and fiber in your food. So there could be various answers as to her sleeping position, her mattress, so many things. It could even be stress and weight. If she's carrying extra weight, you're giving her too much of stress. It could be a reason as well. Okay. So it's multifactorial. So you may want to really, look into it and see if any of these things apply to her.
I can reach to you through emails. Can you help me in that?
You can find me on the website and reach out to my team.
Thank you very much.
To help you.